Hello,
Hello.
we're back.
So today's topic is reconnecting with friendships, um, more specifically after having kids and having that transition of life. It's I think it's a pretty common topic, no matter how close you are with your immediate or more distant friends. When you have a huge life event, and having a child is a huge life event, having multiple children is huge life events. Um, you tend to distance yourself from people because you're in survival mode, and or you feel distanced, and then as you come out of that um, kind of sheltered place, you start thinking to yourself, "Ooh, who am I going to reach out to? What is this going to look like, et cetera, et cetera." Well, what about our experiences, love?
So, when I think back on our time having kids 4 years ago for the first time as new parents, I would say even before that, we moved to Sacramento about 9 years ago and 8 years, 9 years. And we already kind of struggled to have strong connections. We made a few, but then when we went into parenthood, it really was challenging to reach out to those few. And I think that that was in big part because of our own mental challenges that we didn't want to burden other people and reach out to, but also we didn't know how to find our footing in friendship with a child and what that could look like. And I honestly say it took us like 3.5 years to figure out what that could look like.
And caveat to this, we also had kids during COVID, so which we're not very how do I put that? We didn't mind seeing people
Yeah.
during COVID, but people did mind seeing each other during COVID. So that did put a little extra caveat onto our experience.
Yeah. So I would say once we finally felt like we could kind of wrap our heads around being new parents and brave interacting, then the world shut down. So that did add another layer. And then when people did feel okay, comfortable to hang out, we didn't feel comfortable because we were so nervous about our screaming baby, or if I felt comfortable nursing, um, just different things in that sense of the challenges of navigating bringing a 6-month-old baby places. And I think that because of the shutdown, it did make us more eager to actually interact with people and want us to crave that even more because we couldn't have it and now we wanted it. And then it was taken away from us. It's like that thing when you're a kid and your parents say you can't have this or do this. That's all you can think about, and you're going to find a way to do it. Like that kind of, I think, was ignited in us. And that was another actual benefit for us in that time, was that it transformed a desire in us to actually do something that was kind of like something we were trepidatious about how to navigate. But I think that I was really fortunate. I did have a couple friends that I was texting and trying to lean on in that sense. But when I dreamed of my mom's group, I did not feel like I was very supported in my mom's group. None of the women in my group could relate to my life as a firewife, and that's nothing on them, but their situation was very different from mine. Most of them, their husbands came home every night. They weren't traveling for long periods of time for work. They had local family for support. And for me, as a first time mom, with my husband gone 2 to 4 days at a time, no family for support, no one coming home for a reprieve, no one helping me so I could take a shower or go grab coffee with a girlfriend or take a date with my husband or go to my acupuncture appointment or see my therapist, nothing. It was very hard to show up to those mom group meetings and feel like I had a space I could be vulnerable and sharing when those other, women were counting down until 6 o'clock or until 10 a.m. when their mom came over so they could take a shower. I felt really alone and not not easily able to connect.
So that's something I'd really like to dig in for. That I think is huge for us is so ABC's community, knowing how to utilize your community, um, because it's a give and take relationship, and it's okay to take every now and then. So when you have children, you've changed and your needs have changed. Your entire life, your package, your priorities, decisions, time spent, schedule, every part of you, the amount you exercise, what your food you eat, maybe, how much you sleep, definitely. These are all changing. Um, and it's a new frontier for you. And here's the real caveat. I think a lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people, they have kids and they're not necessarily surrounded by people who already have kids, who are maybe just ahead of them in the journey or 8 years in the journey. They might be the first ones of their circle diving into this journey and not even think about that. Like, oh yeah, we're the first ones of our kids, of our friends to have kids, and our parents aren't in town, and this is going to be okay because I've been successful in everything else I've done in life. And when you find yourself lost, a good suggestion to bring you back is to just ask yourself, who has done what I'm doing right now and is ahead of me in the race? So, a good thing for us to have asked ourselves in that moment would have been, who's a firefighter mom who has been doing this for 6 years, 10 years? And even though I don't know her, and my husband works with her husband and we don't hang out or that, this might be the time for me to get her phone number and just cold call her. I'm dead serious.
Well, and I think this goes back to the point of we or me, I wasn't comfortable doing that. I felt very isolated for my own doing.
And this is why we have this program, because everyone feels that way. And these are things that when you're in the storm, it all, everything in life that makes sense, you're like, I already knew that when you heard it, but that doesn't mean you did it. That's the way we all are. So you have to hear simple things and get the push, right? This is that push. When you find yourself in a storm and you're like, what is going on? The simple question is, who is this exact person who I am right now in 5 to 10 years, whatever it is? Find out who it is. I don't care if you haven't met them or if you're not sure if you're going to align with them. They've been through the same storm. Figure out how to cold call them and just say, hey, my name's Amanda. Hey, my name's John. I work, my husband's a firefighter. My husband actually works with your husband. I got 2 babies. I'd love to get coffee. I'd love to hang out. Be a little honest. I'm having trouble getting out of the house, right? Um, for a lot of people in life, we'd like to give back in the ways that we can. You're not asking them for $1 million. You're not asking them to ruin their entire day for you. You just want to talk. And frankly, I mean, women might not be a lot like, man, we're different in ways, but guys love talking about things that we think we know. We love doing that. Oh, I know this. Let me talk about it for 5 hours. Like right now, what I'm doing. So, but women like to connect. So it works on their front too. We didn't really think about that. We didn't utilize that as well as we could have. And that's huge. So, and I hope that doesn't only apply to the fire community. Really, the first thing that came to mind when Amanda was talking was the military community to me. We have friends. He's gone for weeks at a time. Man, I can't imagine what that's like. So imagine if that was a new mom and she didn't have any like-minded or community-based thing in her military circle. How alone she must feel for those huge chunks of time. I can't speak on that. I don't know if they have programs. I'm sure. I hope, but you know, everyone has their own stories of why they're in their own little piece of hurt, and there's a way to find someone to relate to. You just hopefully whoever's listening will take this as their nudge and their support to say they want to hear from you, even if they've never heard from you before. They've never talked to you before. They seem busy. They seem stressed. Every time you see them, they're angry. They're yelling at the kid. Yep. that's the human being you want to talk to, because when they know that you are going through something they went to, they're going to have compassion for you. You want to talk to them.
Yeah, I think of that yearning that we have now to be that version of person for the 3 4 years ago version of us. And I think there were so many layers to our challenge as new parents. And I had really bad postpartum depression, anxiety. I didn't realize the depths of it. I was meeting with a counselor regularly, um, but I just truly didn't see the scope of it until honestly now, almost 4 years later. And also, I think back of like, I wasn't the most lit up version of myself. I was pretty dark, but I needed support and I didn't have it. And I hope that I can be that, John can be that person for someone else, because it was so lonely and it was so dark. And I want to remind someone else, another mom, another new mom, like there is light in you. And I see the great parts of you that maybe you feel are so buried right now. But I'm here to remind you of that, even if it's just the quick coffee date while I hold your, baby
Mm-hmm.
and my toddlers are running around. Like, we're going to still have challenges because my toddlers aren't just disappearing, but it's okay. And I'm going to have my moments still where I'm underwater, and we can be there together underwater in a place where we're still supporting one another. It doesn't have to always be sunshine and rainbows, but it's there. Like, we know that rainbow and the pot of gold, it is there, even through the rain. And I know it's there.
So when you think about your time spent, I forget who I learned or heard this from, but a good rule of thumb is to split the people you're surrounded by into thirds. And people can be mixed and matched in each pot, but we're just talking about topics. So let's say people on the topics of parenting, right? Because you can be around people with the topics of having fun, or people on the topics of money, or people on the topics of cooking. Doesn't matter. You're here to survive life with parenting in this conversation. So roughly, and when you think of those people, a third of your time should be spent with people ahead of you in the race, so that you can learn from them, and that puts you into a good state of receiving and being humble, right? A third of your time should be uh, with people in the same part of the race as you, because they're going to go through the same problems. You can relate with them. You're on the same playing field. You can hash out some issues, and you can complain. They're good if they're on the same level as you. Like, I get it. No one likes complainers, but when you're really in a storm, it feels good sometimes to complain. And you can complain to the people that are ahead of you in the race too. But whatever. But the point is, you need to be surrounded by people on your same level too, just to relate to them. It feels good. It feels good to know that you're not alone in the race. And then you need to spend a third of your time with people behind you in the race, right? And this is the giving back portion. So, and if your new parents, there aren't really people too far behind you. That means if you have a relative in college, or you have a friends that are newly married and they're figuring out whatever, spend some time with them too, that they're behind you in the race. And it allows you to reconnect with your past. It allows you to continue to be humble. It allows you to maybe pay it forward a little bit. But those three balanced sections, if you find you're like, oh yeah, I don't hang out with one of those three sections, then that means that your whole cycle is a little bit misbalanced. You're either always pushing to be better too much, if you're always surrounded by people better than you, or you're never growing if you're right in the middle, because you never give back and you never look forward, or if you're just always hanging out with people behind you, you're never going to change into the person you need to be, right? These demands are going to start outweighing you because you don't have enough growth. So I think that's a good way to look at who you spend your time with too.
Yeah. All right. That's it for today.
For today. Good luck.